Hello guys, and welcome back to Lake Academy. Today I'll be demonstrating an in-cab brake check using a Volvo VNL truck. The very first thing that you want to do is to make sure your air tanks are at maximum pressure and your truck is running. Once the maximum pressure is confirmed, you have to push this yellow parking brake button so as to release the parking brake. And next, all you have to do is to fan the brakes, fan the foot pedal, reducing the air pressure in both primary and secondary gauges down to 90 psi. So our primary and secondary gauges for our air pressure is these two. So I'll fan the brakes down to 90. That's almost 80 to 90. And once the pressure reaches 90 or 80, we have to stop fanning the brakes like I did and observe the gauges to make sure if the air pressure begins to rise again. And if you see your gauges rising, it confirms that the governor has placed the air compressor into the loading stage and the system is building pressure properly. Once that is confirmed, you keep fanning your brakes down to about 60 psi. This check is to check the warning buzzer, the low pressure warning buzzer at 60. Somewhere around there you see the warning buzzer. It's now audible. You keep on fanning your brakes until you reach about 20 psi to 35 psi. The yellow button is supposed to engage automatically on its own. If you see that, it engages on its own. So that confirms that our emergency parking brake is working. Once that is done, you have to put your foot on the accelerator pedal, hold it at about 1200 RPMs, and you have to build up pressure from 50 to 90 psi within 3 minutes. This is done only to confirm if the compressor is loading up the air pressure effectively. So from 50 to 90, you have to build up pressure within 3 minutes. This is just to measure the effectiveness of the compressor. Once it's around 90, you have to release again your parking brake to avoid compounding the brakes. Once you release, keep building up air pressure until you reach maximum pressure of around 105 to 135 psi. On this specific truck, you reach maximum pressure at around 105 to 110. Yeah. The only way you're gonna confirm if you have reached the maximum pressure, you have to listen for what we call the air dryer page cycle, which usually happens outside, but it will be audible if you listen. Once that is done, you switch off your truck. Now what we're gonna do, the next check that we're gonna do is called the air leakage test. How do you do it? You turn on your truck without starting it. Wait for all gauges to reset. Once that is done, you have to turn off all the noises inside the cab. If your fan is on, your heater is on, your radio is on, you have to turn all that off. You also have to open your windows so that you can listen to any audible leaks. So the next thing that you're gonna do, since we already released the parking brake, we can safely press on our brakes. So you have to put a force of like 40 to 60 pounds of pressure on your brakes. You can do that by observing this application gauge on top. So I'm gonna press on the brakes. You can see my gauge is rising. and I'll hold it at 50. You have to hold it at 50 for about a minute while it's observing your primary and secondary gauges. You are not supposed to lose more than 4 pounds, 4 psi per minute. You keep holding it at 50 psi and watch your primary and secondary gauges. They are not supposed to bulge and drop more than 4 psi per minute. On some other trucks, you can actually tap on these gauges. Sometimes they get stuck. It's almost a minute and I didn't lose even more than 2 psi. So once all that is done, you release your brakes. You start again your truck. Once your truck is started, you turn on your parking brake. You go grab your wheel chocks outside the truck. You come back inside your truck and you do what we call the tag test and the service brake test. But I will cover those two on the next video that I'm gonna make. So to put all this in summary, what you have to do for your in-cab brake test is you have to first off make sure your air pressure is at maximum pressure, your truck is running. Once all that is confirmed, you release your parking brake. After releasing your parking brake, you have to fan your brakes and observe your primary and secondary gauges down to 90 psi. Once you're at 90 psi, you have to watch your gauges if they're gonna rise. Once you see them rising, this confirms that the governor has placed the compressor into the loading stage and our compressor is pumping air again into the system. You keep on fanning your brakes down to like 60 psi. Once you're at psi, your warning buzzer is supposed to sound. Once your warning buzzer is audible, you keep on fanning your brakes down to 20 psi to 35 psi. And then your emergency parking brake is supposed to engage automatically. Once it's done, you build up pressure. While you're building up pressure, you have to build pressure from 50 to 90 psi within 3 minutes. This is to just measure the effectiveness of the air compressor. Once you're at psi, you reach the 90 psi within 3 minutes, you release again your parking brake to avoid compounding the brakes. And once that is done, you keep building up your pressure until you reach the maximum air pressure. And how do you know that you have reached the maximum pressure? You listen to an audible sound which comes from what we call the air dryer page cycle. This will confirm that the governor has placed the compressor into the unloading stage. So that's all for today, guys. I hope this video helps, and if you like the video, kindly like, subscribe, share. This will motivate me to make more videos that will educate the North. Thank you so much, guys, and see you again.